Okay, good morning or good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to have you back here for another installment of 3D printing leadership during COVID time. It's a real honor and a privilege to continue to have your support and to stay in touch during this challenging and unprecedented period. My name is Avi Reichental. I am the co-founder and CEO of Nexa 3D, and you might say an old hand in 3D printing. And I'm absolutely blessed and privileged today to have with me Joe Rocca, who is a leader in 3D printing and in automotive in his own right, who has been on this journey from the early days of Ford implementing CAD/CAM, and then as 3D printing became more ubiquitous, Joe was one of the leaders of Fisher Unitech, which was, I think, very instrumental in introducing 3D printing to the entire Midwest. And for the last 5 or so years, Joe has built his own new company, starting all over again, building an incredible 3D printing and additive manufacturing company called DELRAY Systems. Joe, welcome to our webinar and welcome to our partnership between DELRAY Systems and Nexa 3D.
Well, thank you, Avi. Those are great, kind words. You know, it's the journey started many years ago, and you know, I think it was 1996 that I seen a 3D printer sitting at the in our lab at Fisher Unitech, and you know, just like everybody else, it was you know, being an engineer at heart. You know, it was basically, well, it's an FDM machine. It was a 3D printer manufactured by Stratasys, and quite a different machine back then. It was, it didn't use a continuous filament feed. It had kind of a PEZ dispenser sort of mechanism that fed the material. So in its own right, it was a real unique 3D printer. And I kind of fell in love with the technology, and that was the start of a very long career of promoting and creating the awareness, like we all have over the years. And I think what we talked about is, you know, back in the early days, you know, people would, if you told them that you sold 3D printers, you know, they kind of looked at you cross-eyed like, well, what is a 3D printer? Well, I think nowadays, you know, everybody knows what 3D printing is, and you know, you see it on the newscast and the wonderful things that it's been doing for us, especially during very tough times. You know, we've really kind of became the forefront of changing how we operate, how we manufacture, and getting us to be able to produce quickly parts that are being used to help the community. And that's part of what DELRAY is doing now. You know, we of course, you know, there's a lot of companies out there building face shields. We're one of them. You know, I have all this equipment that you see behind me, and you know, it was when COVID hit and the stay-at-home order came, you know, we had these machines sitting here, and we thought, well, let's start utilizing them, help the community. So I wanted to really kind of keep it localized to right in our area, because we're, you know, we're really, our business is to sell 3D printers. We sell materials and so on and so forth. But we have the equipment, so I thought, well, let me give back to the community. So we are building face shields, and we are donating all the face shields that we're making currently. And of course, that's not a sustaining model for a for-profit company like DELRAY. but you know, we're just trying to do our part. You know, it's going to be a small part. I'm not a Ford Motor Company that can build, you know, or a General Motors doing, you know, ventilators and so on and so forth. But you know, in a small sense, at least with the local community here, we're doing our part, and it's been a long, tremendous career that I've had, and this has been great to team up with a company like Nexa 3D. And
I wanted to ask you about that, Joe. I mean, you have had really a storied career, and you know, I think, a great deal about how to build a business, because you were doing it all over again as a true serial entrepreneur. What attracted you to us, to Nexa 3D, and where did you find the courage to figure out how to enter into a new partnership and a new agreement during COVID time? Because I think that it's really speaks volumes about our adaptability, not just as an industry doing good and making good and jumping in to make face shields, which we're all doing, and ventilator parts and so forth, because I think it's ingrained in us, this need to be of service to our communities. But we're also learning new muscles and new ways how we can work together. And DELRAY and Nexa 3D did not pause in our discussions to come together. You kind of took matters into your own hands, and you said, we're going to make this happen, COVID or not COVID. What drove you to do that? How did you do it? And what does that say about the way that we're going to work in the future?
Well, I think that you know, there's a lot of different technologies out there, as you're well aware, and the one thing that stood out in particular with the product, and it was something that we knew about for many years, even when I think I mentioned to you at Fish Unitech. I used to sit in meetings with one of the founders over at Fish Unitech, Greg Fisher. He's got a long automotive history here in this town, and you know, and we talked about 3D printing and, you know, where 3D printing was maybe heading. We're talking about maybe 20 years ago we had these discussions, and we knew at that time that, you know, being able to produce parts in a full layer at a time was really, you know, you're going from almost, you know, like a pen plotter type scenario, which a lot of the technologies, in particular like FDM, you know, that was kind of the basis of how that technology developed. But you know, going from say a pen plotter to almost like an electrostatic plotter or a you know, or a inkjet plotter, it was really that sort of jump. And we knew that to get the speed that you needed to have, because, you know, quite frankly, you know, it's been called rapid prototyping for all these years, but there's really not that much that's really rapid about it. It doesn't seem like it. It's certainly a tremendous technology, but people just want parts to be able to come off their machines quickly, and everybody has timelines and everybody has delivery schedules. And so I think that was one of the main driving forces for why the technology was very intriguing to us, for sure, because we knew that with having the speed capability of, you know, one centimeter in Z every minute, it's just a tremendous speed to have. And then if you couple that with great materials, you really have a machine that can deliver not only prototypes, but if you get into the ability to start manufacturing, it really has almost manufacturing speed, uh, uh, which would be able to produce many parts. And when I seen the screenshot of 40 face shield frames in just 2 hours, that's a real eye opener. And
I'm putting that on the screen for you because I wanted to share with you what we're doing in our own customer experience center as we speak. And I think this is what you are referring to.
Yep, absolutely. So to have that amount of part builds in just a little over 2 hours is something that was very apparent, especially going into this COVID scenario. And I think that, everyone was trying to be able to start producing quickly and be able to manufacture these and get them out to, first responders, hospitals, so on and so forth. The current speed of the machines has really, made this very apparent that we really need to get a whole lot faster with the technology, and I think that was part of the main reason why Nexa 3D in particular was of interest to DELRAY Systems. And we had many opportunities to pick up other equipment, but we're somewhat particular here. And we really don't want to be a shop that carries a multitude of different equipment. I could have signed up and had 50 or 60 different 3D printers and offered them online. I kind of call that, I don't know if you have Baskin Robbins out there, but any flavor you want. So we've partnered with very strategic partners in that we wanted to have the best in class in whatever equipment that we were offering. And so Nexa was definitely on our radar from day one. And that was kind of, we didn't think that the COVID situation only enforced that decision, because like I said, that it became very apparent when we started making face shields that we just couldn't get going fast enough. Even though I have 10 machines here in the lab and I can get them all started, it really still was not quick enough, and the ability to get to almost production level with a 3D printer would be just tremendous for the industry, and to address these critical needs at critical times. It's really about getting there real quick, and that's what we need to have.
Yeah, and just to complete the story, we managed now to get to a level in which we can do about between 500 and 600 of those face shields a shift, and we put on 2 shifts in place so that we can keep up with the local demand for first responders in hospitals. And it was really incredible to me to witness. We decided on a Thursday a few weeks ago that we need to do it, and by Friday evening we deployed about 6 additional machines into our customer experience center, and by Saturday afternoon we had 2 shifts running on kind of a pilot mode, and by Monday we were up and running full tilt. And I think it's just an incredible validation of the power of this digital technology we call 3D printing and additive manufacturing, that when we're called upon, there is almost no time lag between the decision to do something and the ability to really stand it up. And to do it with a much faster printer, to your point, Joe, I think really gets us to near production speeds, which for me, as I'm sure for you, has been kind of an elusive dream and a quest for now nearly 2 decades, because I was never satisfied with kind of the state of the art in terms of speed and also in terms of functional material. And I always thought to myself that it's, you know, it kind of comes under the headings that some of the world's greatest challenges are also the world's greatest opportunities. And so I always thought to myself, if we could only improve the speed at some significant size and scale and do it with functional materials, boy, that could change the whole industry. And it's kind of in a way serendipitous that we get tested for the first few times doing something that's really meaningful, like providing first responders with a useful product that you know comes off our machine, like the one over here, which also gives us the functionality that everybody's looking for. So it feels good to be able to pursue this and actually deliver something that's relevant in the here and now.
Yeah, it's just amazing where we're at this moment. I mean, you know, we could have maybe had machines here a little earlier. That would have worked out really well for us, you know. And but to your point, it's that is the holy grail of 3D printing is, you know, the speed. You have all, you know, injection molding quality. You know, you have near production speed right out of the gate. You know, and you can get there with just a series of machines. You know, you're looking at, you know, rivaling injection molding, you know, with the speeds that you're obtaining with the equipment. So I think that there's you know, a tremendous opportunity out there to really make a difference and put the rapid back into rapid prototyping, I guess.
I like that a lot. How do you see your region, and particularly the great state of Michigan? How do you see us beginning to get back to business, and as an entrepreneur and a business owner yourself? How are you thinking about next week and the week after? And I mean, how do we get back into this new normal, and what would you advise others to do?
So here in Michigan, you know, the governor extended the stay-at-home order until the middle of May. So here in Michigan, we have a variety of things occurring. Some are companies that when COVID hit, you know, they either did one of two things. They either thought how they could be part of the solution, and then there's others that basically said, hey, look, we're gonna just close everything up and just wait it out. And then once everything settles back out, it's not really our business to make ventilators, for instance. So you kind of see a little bit of a mixed bag. So a lot of our customers, interesting enough, and we have quite a few. Some of them, you know, their engineers might be working from home right now, and they may be doing some 3D printing, but the bulk of them are really kind of shut down right now. And then, like I said, we have others that we had this influx of of people buying a lot of equipment. We can't keep plastic on the shelf right now. It's just where I heard that there's a worldwide plastics shortage in certain plastics right now. So this has really created well, not anticipated at all for sure, and we were somewhat in a good position in that we had pretty substantial stock of both materials and equipment right before COVID hit. So we had companies that were not involved in 3D printing that probably went home and looked at the news and seeing that how 3D printers were helping, through the crisis here. And we got a lot of those companies then bought machines from us because they feel, hey, we really have to, take a look at this technology. Some of them are aircraft companies that basically are doing traditional machining, and they had no 3D printing technologies, and that's pretty common. We've had quite a few sales that they are buying their first 3D printer because of COVID, and because they knew that their organizations, their companies needed to be more diversified in their capability to respond quickly. There's a lot of people that are out there that want to help, and everybody's trying to figure out how can I help. And so some of them took the initiative and said, hey, look, we need to maybe get some of these machines in here so that we can quickly change our operations and be a little bit more nimble on being able to provide these devices that are needed at a critical time. And that's what we've seen here at DELRAY. I don't know, and I'm sure that mirrors a lot of the 3D printing companies out there. But we were very fortunate that there's a lot of just like in every community, there's barber shops and a lot of florists and all these businesses that are under the authority of the governor to basically stay shut down, and those businesses are really being impacted by this. And coming out of it, we're all trying to figure out what is how are we going to get out of this scenario, and what is that going to look like. And so I think that that's going to be a challenge for us moving down the road here. And I think 3D printing is probably going to be a big part of that. It's going to help make that transition. We just got to think about how we can help.
Yeah, I think we have a great question here from Pete Ferguson that I will read, and maybe Joe, you and I can try to answer it. Pete is saying that he feels that in times like this, each generation and to an extent, each technology platform gets the opportunity to expand through providing needed products. And he's asking us, how do we see this effort propelling the AM industry in the near and long term? I'll give you my thought about it. I think that COVID-19 is showing us how important design agility is, which means, Joe, as you said, putting the rapid back in rapid prototyping, but it also shows us how broken and exposed our supply chain is. I mean, we literally got caught with our pants down in terms of emergency preparedness and response capabilities. We got, I think, hung up on very long and extended and complicated supply chains that in many instances all led back to China with mission critical components that we purchased based on cost, not based on availability and response. So I think that we'll see a lot of movements on the part of many companies now to kind of reimagine and rethink their supply chain and ask themselves, how do I make my supply chain more resilient? How do I begin to get more to nearshoring and onshoring? How do I combine parts and simplify things? And all of that is going to bode extremely well, I think, for additive manufacturing in ways that could really finally mainstream our industry, because I think that we're one of the only industries during the first few weeks of COVID that actually was able to spring into action and provide meaningful and mission critical solutions almost overnight. What do you think, Joe?
I agree with you. I think that we talk about bridge to tooling, and it really, I know that there's companies here in Michigan that are now tooling up for and they're producing, you know, these face shields and headbands very quickly right now. But, you know, 3D printing was very instrumental, including, Ford Motor Company that took their whole additive lab and immediately started building face shields and so on and so forth, and started converting their manufacturing right out of the gate. And I know General Motors is doing that. Interesting enough, Chrysler has just bought a whole bunch of materials, so they're gearing up. They're a little late to the game, but they're still, and I know that they're working on many different things overseas because they're part of Fiat. So yeah, certainly the supply chain is going to be looked at very carefully, because I think you're absolutely right, is that it's an eye-opener for everyone, all the manufacturers, and just understanding the vulnerability of relying on sourcing from overseas. So there's going to be a lot of consideration for localizing manufacturing. Additive is really a mechanism to get there, because you can have basically local manufacturing occurring very quickly. And so we did, we've seen and we experienced a transitional phenomenon because of COVID, and a lot of these companies stepped up to the plate. We have one company that we actually are sourcing our straps that go around the back, and they usually make the straps that you see inside your vehicles to pull your seats down and so on and so forth. And they immediately changed their operation to start building these manufacturing these straps that are just basically Velcro straps. But they were that nimble, and the ability for them to change their supplying of product was instrumental. They can't keep up right now, because the demand for their product that they're developing now because of COVID is just has changed their business entirely. So yeah, I think that we are going to see that occurring, in particular when we when people are getting back to work. I think people are going to take a very serious look at updating their capability set, so that they can be nimble and make these changes quickly and start producing.
I couldn't agree more, which is why we're trying to rush to the market a higher level of functional materials. In the last couple of days, we announced a great partnership with Henkel, who I think is really on the forefront of providing, call it, higher performance polymers, as you can see by what I'm sharing, because we believe that those are exactly the kind of materials that in combination with speed could actually be part of a new supply chain resiliency plan. But, you know, interestingly enough, what you said about speed, you know, we typically think of 3D printing for more ordinary and traditional activities like jigs and fixtures and complex parts, you know, where we feel that throughput and price might permit us to use 3D printers, but we don't think about it in terms of small parts that one could run through injection molding, literally for pennies, and at speeds that typically we couldn't touch with 3D printing. So, you know, while we had some opportunity to reflect about it over the last few weeks, we also did an experiment, and we tried to produce some simple gears on the NXC 400. And I want to show you the result here because it's absolutely nothing short of incredible. We were able to print 5,000 plastic gears in 1 hour. And when you think, and we managed to do it in a way that they're all stacked up and then they easily break off the build plate. It's, for me, is kind of an old hand, you know, that started this on the back of a napkin about 5 years ago with, you know, an empty building and a big dream. This was just astonishing that we could print so many gears, 5,000 gears in 1 hour. And so as we think about what supply chain looks like on the other side of it, I'm really excited that our industry, I think, can play a pivotal role in companies rethinking their supply chain.
Yeah, that's one heck of a video there. Yeah, we just received our, I think it's the new Henkel material, right? It's this black material. It's just a beautiful part. It's really, you know, injection molded quality, and it looked like somebody was hitting us with a hammer. You know, but so it looks like it has the strength characteristics that you would normally see with injection molding. So I agree with you, Avi, is that, you know, if we get to that speed of you know, what traditional manufacturing is achieving with 3D printing, because that's always been the you know, the area of additive that everybody's been trying to achieve this, you know, manufacturing capability with the equipment. I think the you know, the Nexa really looks like it's got is got that promise of delivering these parts in a very production-like environment. So we're pretty excited about it. Thought we had a few questions. I don't know if.
Yeah, we have, I can see that Jeff Robinson is asking, will the machine be able to print the unique Henkel materials like their 5110, the silicon elastomeric? The answer is that we're working with Henkel to quickly qualify many additional materials, and you know, you will see a steady stream of Henkel materials that we're going to qualify and announce, because we want to open the next platform to as many Henkel materials, and for that matter, also other suppliers materials. We're working very actively with DSM to try and bring some of their materials on board. We're working with BASF and already have one of their materials on board. And we're also working very well with a company from the Benelux called Licreate, and also are bringing some of their materials on board. For example, the orange material is their material. One of the I think exciting things, I see Christian is asking, what else can you do besides face shields? And I'm glad you asked that, because one of the areas where we are currently qualifying is for the nasal test swabs. We are going through a few internal review boards in a few hospitals, and we are setting in place a capacity that could allow us to produce up to 500,000 swabs on a weekly basis. And with a little bit of help from the approval people at the end of this week, we hope that we will pass the IRBs and be able to really harness our capacity to deliver badly needed swabs, because we believe that part of returning back to normal will require 100% testing sooner rather than later. So that's Christian and other areas, another area that we're focusing on. We've, by the way, some of our customers that already have Nexa machines and want to get in the game as well. Joe, you are offering a lot of other services to your local customers in the Midwest, and you probably are getting a lot of phone calls from some of your customers. What are some of the more interesting requests and questions that you're getting during this period?
During this period, yeah, it was other than just the standard things. We've had interesting enough some scanning questions. And I know that it's very difficult to get out there and scan, but I don't know if I can share my screen right now.
Sure.
We could take a look at one of the things. One of the gentlemen that works in conjunction with DELRAY, there's another company, and I don't know if my screen is shared right now, but so this is kind of our lab in 3D, and you can, I don't know if it's coming through right now, Avi. Can you see the lab?
Not on my view, not yet.
Okay, let's see. I probably have to share my screen. Oh, there we go. And let me go ahead and share this so that hopefully it's coming through.
Yes, now we see it. It's amazing.
So yeah, so this is our building. I'm sitting at this table up here, and as you can select these dots. So we're getting some requests for this service. Actually, it was done with some scanning technology that we have, and we haven't scanned all of it. The back room here was not clean when we went through and scanned, but we're looking at how do we operate coming out of COVID, and part of that is that we think that there's going to be a lot of need for still demonstration of the product, and you'll be able to come here and maybe there'll be request demo. You could actually select some of these, and of course we haven't developed this fully yet, so this is just the initial version of it, but each one of these can have a hot link. Hopefully I'm not getting everybody seasick here, but you could almost, walk through the entire facility here if you wanted to take a look at the big rep machine, and you could click on the link to get more information. It takes you to the website, but we could have, videos and so on and so forth, and then maybe another selection that would let you schedule a private demonstration with the equipment, because we think that people are going to really be reluctant to travel, and so don't, and excuse the mess, I'm sorry, the lab looks a little messy. We didn't really, we just wanted to get it up and running and see how it would operate, see how it would flow online. But we've been getting a lot of requests because I think that people have seen what we've done. And so some of the scanning parts of our business, in conjunction with DELScan, has opened the eyes to how people may need to operate down the road. You could have the software is intelligent enough that you might have, a virtual receptionist, so you could actually scan a building with the receptionist sitting there, and you could go up, maybe even ask her questions and schedule a meeting with somebody, and so on and so forth. So the technology has a lot of capabilities of getting us to that post-COVID scenario where, prior to actually being there physically, they could certainly go there through a virtual port like this, and be able to maybe accomplish quite a few of the things that they would do just visiting our lab. So that's some of the stuff that we've been doing, and just getting ourselves prepared for what's next for us.
It's pretty incredible technology, and I think that there will be a call for a lot more in the future. I see that we have Gabriel Mota that raised his hand and wants to ask a question. Let me see if I can quickly open the mic, and let's hear your question. Gabriel?
Might have to unmute himself.
Yeah, he's on mute, but we unmuted him. Gabriel? Well, maybe we have some technical difficulties. I had kind of a closing question for you, Joe. We have done all of this using virtual technology. You and I made our deal that way. Michele trained your sales team virtually. We did this webinar virtually. You scanned your office virtually. When are we going to get together face to face and have a dinner?
Well, I hope next week. we know that's not going to happen. Oh yeah, that's pretty exciting to get back to what we had, prior to COVID. It's just hard to imagine that we're in the situation that we're in right now. Going into 2020, I can't imagine anybody on this, either on this call or this panel, that would have envisioned what we were going to be faced with just a few months into the year. And it's really an eye-opener for everybody, just understanding how grateful we and maybe taking it for granted a little bit of how we operated as a race in a community, so yeah, I'm hoping that maybe later in the summer. I can't imagine. I think I talked to you about an event that I had here just prior to COVID, and we had probably 80, maybe 80, 90 people registered for the event. I ordered lunch. I had probably 60 that actually attended. And this was just at the end of February. So, you know, so trade shows, of course, Rapid was canceled, AMUG was canceled, so on and so forth. So it's hard to predict, you know, what things are going to look like, and certainly not these big group gatherings. You know, I think the trade shows for 2020, we may not necessarily see any trade shows this year. But certainly I'm gonna, as soon as I can, I'm gonna certainly fly out to sunny California to spend some time with you folks out there. I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, we can't wait to host you, and we are really grateful, and I'm really grateful for your trust and partnership, and taking Nexa on as one of your premier tools in your toolbox as you get back to business. I think that our industry is really blessed to have passionate, knowledgeable entrepreneurs like you that have been with it for so long and know what they were doing and are trusted by your constituents and customers and communities. And I think that this whole crisis is just showing the resilience of us humans and our generosity and our ability to innovate and make sense and figure things out, even when everything around us seem to be falling apart. And I think it's these traits of generosity of spirit and inventiveness and industriousness and resiliency that I think will see us through this. And I think we'll see our own industry thrive as a result of it. Joe, thank you so much.
Thank you, Avi. It's been a pleasure, and it's like I said, I'm really looking forward to having your equipment here in the lab, of course. And I know that we should be receiving our demo equipment here soon, and looking forward to providing demonstrations. We're really excited about having the technology on board. Thank you.
Right on. And good luck. I hope everybody stays healthy. Thank you so much for joining us again, and Godspeed. Have a nice day, all.
Thank you. Take
Bye-bye.
care.
You too.